Dylan Bennett Klebold was born on September 11, 1981 in Lakewood, Colorado. His father, Tom Klebold, was a geophysicist. His mother, Susan Klebold, worked with disabled adults. Tom and Sue were from Columbus, Ohio, and went to Ohio State University. Sue came from a large Jewish community there, granddaughter of the late philanthropist and construction mogul Leo Yasnoff, who built the local Jewish community center in Columbus that bears her name. He had a big brother, Byron. Dylan attended Normandy Elementary School in Littleton, Colorado, for grades 1 and 2. Then transferred to Governor's Ranch Elementary School, where he was part of the CHIPS, Challenging High Intellectual Potential Students program for gifted and talented children. During his early youth years, he played t-ball, baseball, and football. He was in the Boy Scouts with his friend Brooks Brown, a boy he had been friends with since first grade. Then he entered Colombine High School for his 9th year with Brooks Brown and Eric Harris. In Colombine, Dylan was very active as a sound and light coordinator, as well as in video productions in the Colombine High School Rebel News Network. He did a few videos with Nate, one of the Rebel News Network announcements, and another video in November 1998 to show Nate's dad where Nate lived, went to school, etc. He was even praised for helping during Rachel Scott's performance during the Watch the Lamb show. Indeed, there was a music problem. Dylan was able to provide a backup tape and keep the show going. He was a computer assistant at school and helped maintain the computer server. He regularly played fantasy baseball. He is described by his mother as a funny, intelligent, playful, sensitive child, passionate about baseball and movies. Dylan will write in his journal,
Yes, this is me writing. Just writing. Nobody technically did anything. Just I felt like throwing out of my thoughts. This is a weird time, weird life, weird existence. As I sit here, partially drunk, point a screwdriver. I think a lot, think. That's all my life is. Just shitloads of thinking. All the time, my mind never stops. Music runs 24/7, except for sleep. Just songs I hear. Not necessarily good or bad. I thinking about the hassle.
Censored.
In gym class. How it worries me about driving, and my family about friends, and doing with them, about girls I know.
Censored and censored.
How I know I can never have them, yet I can still dream.
His mother even explains that 3 days before the shooting of the prom, Dylan would have had a wonderful evening with his friend Robin. In the car, Dylan allegedly handed his mother a small flask of alcohol. 3 quarters full to show her that he had been reasonable. He would have said to her, "I just want you to know that you can trust in me." A phrase which still rings in the head of Sue Klebold, her mother. Dylan Klebold attended the ball with Robin Anderson on March 17, 1999. Dylan went there in a limousine with 12 other friends. Nate Dickman told reporters that nothing looked unusual that night, that everything was perfect. Nate said Dylan spoke happily about a positive future at college in Arizona and told his friends that was what he really planned to do with his life. His family had previously deposited money for a dorm at the university where he planned to major in computer science. In addition, the entire Klebold family traveled to Arizona March 25, 1999 to choose Dylan's room. Dylan was seen as a follower of Eric Harris and that Eric had a strong influence on him, especially after 1998. He was also portrayed by those who knew him as a young man who lacked confidence in him and painfully shy. But others who knew him very well did not necessarily see him that way, even more so in the months before the shooting. Dylan was known to swear in front of teachers and had previously been suspended from school, along with Eric and another student, for hacking into the school's computer to hack a locker combination to place a threatening note in one student's locker. Dylan's father even had him return a stolen laptop from school owns. A dean will explain that he saw Dylan and Eric on several occasions in his office and that he was not terribly shocked that it was they who did because he had seen the potential for an evil side, that there was a violent, angry streak in these kids. Dylan smoked, drank regularly, and was bullied in the halls of the school. He was depressed and in emotional distress, as his diary shows us. Dylan's mother explains that 2 years before the killing, Dylan was mutilating himself and wanted to have a gun to kill himself. His psychological distress was important. Moreover, Dylan was not the type to ask for help and suffered in silence. Dylan will note in his journal,
2 years before he died, he wrote on a piece of paper in a notebook that he was cutting himself. He said that he was in agony and wanted to get a gun so he could end his life. I didn't know about any of this until months after his death. When I talk about his death as a suicide, I'm not trying to downplay the viciousness he showed at the end of his life. I'm trying to understand how his suicidal thinking led to murder. After a lot of reading and talking with experts, I've come to believe that his involvement in the shootings was rooted not in his desire to kill, but in his desire to die. He had a personality that was perfectionistic and self-reliant, and that made him less likely to seek help from others. He had experienced triggering events at the school that left him feeling debased and humiliated and mad. And he had a complicated friendship with a boy who shared his feelings of rage and alienation and who was seriously disturbed, controlling, and homicidal.
Oh God, I hate my life. I want to die really bad right now. Let's see what I have that's good. A nice family, a good house, food, and couple good friends, and possessions. What's bad? No girls, friends or girlfriends. No other friends except a few. Nobody accepting me even though I want to be accepted. Me doing badly and being intimidated in any and all sports. Me looking weird and acting shy. Big problem, me getting bad grades, having no ambition of life. That's the big shit.
but he will confide in his diary, have fallen in love with a girl who apparently might not even know of his existence.
Oh my God, I am almost sure I am in love with
Censure.
such a strange name, like mine. Yet everything about her I love. From her good body to her almost perfect face, her charm, her wit and cunning, her not being popular. Her friend, who I know some. I just hope she like me as much I love her. I think of her every second of every day. I want to be with her. I imagine me and her doing things together. The sound of her laugh. I picture her face. I love her. If soulmates exist, then I think I found mine. I hope she like techno.
One person who has studied the Dylan Journal thinks his space age is a direct reaction to the fact that his best friend is in a relationship, and that best friend is Eric. Later, he will mark the sentences.
The one who I thought was my true love
Censure.
is not, just a shell of what I want the most. The meanest trick was played on me, a fake love. She in reality doesn't give a good fuck about me, doesn't even know me. I have no happiness, no ambitions, no friends, and no love.
Dylan complained of not succeeding in having happiness. He felt lonely, abandoned by his friend. He felt rejected, and his brain was working non-stop, which often led him to ruminate on his pain every day, in fact to rest or enjoy. Become fatalist, he saw only suicide to stop his sentence.
Some god I am. All people I ever might have loved have abandoned me. My parents piss me off and hate me, want me to have fucking ambition. How can I when I get screwed and destroyed by everything? I have no money, no happiness, no friends. Eric will be getting farther away soon. I have less than nothing. Or normal. I wanted to love, I wanted to be happy and ambitious and free and nice and good and ignorant. Everyone abandoned me. I have small stupid pleasures, my so-called hobbies and doing. Those are all that's left for me.
Note also that Dylan also took himself as Eric for a god, in the face of other humans he called zombies. The superiority complex is an exaggerated response to the lack of self-confidence that translates into an excess of overplayed narcissism. For trying to convince himself that he is not a loser, he has this superiority complex to make the opposition between himself and the jocks, the sportsmen of his high school. Maybe to try to measure up to them, and that he wants to feel superior to his stalkers, and Eric can have the same complex for the same reasons.
I think too much. I understand. I'm God compared to some of these inexhaustible, brainless zombies. Yet, the action of them interests me, like a kid with a new toy.
I will come back later to the video to this principal compensation causing this superiority complex. But Dylan, in his writing, was less angry, more romantic, and dreamy.
Love is more valuable than anything I know. To love is to enter a completion of oneself. I hate those who choose to destroy love, who take it for granted. Love is greater than life even. As I look for love, I feel I can't find it, ever. But some things tell me I will. Someday, somewhere, as my love will find me. She feels as I do right now. I can feel it. We will be inseparable, her and I. We will be free to explore the vast wonders of the stars, to cascade down ever-long waterfalls and through the warmest seas of pure happiness. No limits, no limits. Nothing will stop us.
Just weeks before the massacre, Dylan made a school essay so violent that the teacher told his parents about it. Dylan would have just said, "It's just a story," and there was no follow-up. The story was about a lone warrior dressed in a trench coat who beat, stabbed, and shot dead a group of school, then set off bombs to distract from police. The Klebolds cooperated with Denver police immediately after the massacre. In addition to other evidence, police confiscated 5 videotapes the teens made in the basement of Eric's house. It shows an angry young man with a shotgun who wanted to hurt people and showed it in his words and body language. He had dark ideas that he transcribed in his diary. He will tell about his ill brain and will make a rather murky drawing.
I know that I am different, yet I am afraid to tell the society. The possible abandonment, persecution is not something I want to face, yet it is so primitive to me. I guess being yourself means letting people know about inner thoughts too, not just opinions and fashions. I will be free one day in the land of purity and my happiness. I will have a love, someone who is me in a way, someday, possibly through this life, maybe another, but it will happen.
Eric David Harris was born April 9, 1981 in Wichita, Kansas, son of Wayne Harris, a carrier in the U.S. Air Force, and Catherine Harris, a caterer. He also had a brother, Kevin, who was 21 at the time of the shooting. He was a very intelligent child. He loved fishing with his father and loved the calm of the mountains and the lake. He was described as terribly shy. He hated to fail, which translates to a deep intolerance with himself in the event of failure. Eric Harris was gifted in analytic, math, technology, and gadgets, computers, video games. In 1989, the family moved to Oscoda, Michigan. One of his teachers described him as a perfect, lovable little kid. Then they moved to Plattsburgh in 1992. His father motivated him to join Little League Baseball in April 1993 to meet other children. His parents came to every game and every practice, but Eric at the time did not like to miss balls and don't like failure. When Eric heard he was moving to Denver, he proudly started wearing a Colorado Rockies cap, but consecutive moves did not help him socialize. His relationships did not last over time, which does not allow social development for his age. Maybe even though Dylan was his best friend, he developed a pretty cold outlook on other people. "You've been a good friend," he wrote in the yearbook of Adam's Pasty, a friend he had made in Plattsburgh. "Have a great summer. I will send you a Denver shirt. I will miss you all." In 1993, the Harris family moved to Littleton, Colorado. They rented a house at West Amherst Avenue. When retired from the military and took a job in flight safety at Englewood, Eric attended Career School, where he met Dylan Klebold. At the end of 8th grade, both Dylan and Eric were recognized for their math achievements. During his first year at Colombine, Eric met Brooks Brown on the bus to school and they became friends. Eric also met Nate Dickman in Spanish class, then introduced Nate to Dylan. The group has become good friends. Wayne drove them to football games. where Eric would cheer on his brother. During his first year, Eric met Tiffany Teifer in German class and took her to his house. It was their only date, and when she refused to go out with him on another date, Eric organized a fake suicide, lying on the floor with fake blood splashed all over him. In 1996, the Harris family moved to Thursley Street. Locals remember Eric playing hockey outside his house and helping the family with the garden work on weekends, and when he got his driver's license and his 1986 Honda, he was driving slowly and waving friendly to neighbors. In 1996, Eric Harris created a website to distribute his levels from the Doom game, but he also used it as a diary where he explained his feelings, events, what he didn't like, and his life and relationship with his family. But the more time went on, the more and more violent the publications were. He even published methods of making explosives. In 1997, when Harris posted their threats on his website, there, concerning Brooks Brown, a former friend of his, Brown's mother complained to the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office the existence of these threats. On Eric's website was linked to Brooks' relative by Dylan Klebold. After that, Eric began keeping a diary of Columbine's attack plans on April 19, 1999. Then, shortly before the shooting, they changed plans suddenly to April 20. It was speculated that they originally planned on the 19th. No one is quite sure why they changed the date. Michael Guerra, the county sheriff's deputy, discovered that Harris had published a list of students and teachers to be slaughtered first at Colombine High School. Upon investigation, Harris admitted to having explosives. So Guerra made a report in order to obtain a search warrant for the Harris house, but it was never transmitted to a judge. This request will not be known until 2001, 2 years after the massacre, thanks to the television program 60 Minutes, an American news magazine produced by CBS News and broadcast on the CBS television network. We will also learn that a few days after the Columbine massacre, senior county officials met in secret and decided not to make the existence of this report public. Inspector Guerra's files pertaining to this case had disappeared from county computers, but partial copies of these files were eventually found even though the full report was lost. One of Eric's aspirations was to join the Marines and he even took steps to apply. After this application was turned down shortly before the shooting, presumably because he was taking the drug Luvox as part of her anger management therapy. Drug that was prescribed after the attempted death in a van by Eric and Dylan. They had to follow a program and write to excuse later that Eric even wrote, but which he bragged about manipulating the police on his journal.
Doctor want to put me on medication to stop thinking about so many things and to stop getting angry.
Eric never received the message that he had been refused because the recruiter could not reach Eric to let him know before the shooting. However, Eric's mother had mentioned the drug while Eric was meeting with the recruiter, so it is possible that he was turned down as he did not state that he was taking an antidepressant when he applied, but also that after the recruiting appointment, he knew the Marines wouldn't take him after his mother's revelation. His friends said Eric didn't think he would join the military. Luvox may have contributed to what happened, as most antidepressants now warn that their use in adolescents may increase thoughts of violence and or suicide. However, Friends of Eric told reporters they believed he stopped taking the drug shortly before the shooting. So, if so, it could have triggered an even more violent reaction, as suddenly stopping any antidepressant can reinforce negative side effects. Now, doctors know that antidepressants taken by children and adolescents can increase depression and suicidal behavior. Colombine was one of the first case studies of drug companies who later decided to include warnings on their drugs. Eric's autopsy indicates that he had low levels of Luvox in his body at the time of death, without knowing how long Eric took the drug before the shooting and without knowing how much he was prescribed. It is difficult to say whether this low level of Luvox was due to the fact that he was actively taking a low level of the drug or because he had half-stopping Luvox. Chris Morris, a close friend of theirs, explained in an interview that Eric had changed the last year in Colombine. He went from joy to anger, and suddenly he was taking these drugs to manage his behavior. In Eric's diary, we can read violent and even eugenic passages like this.
Natural selection killed all retards, people with brain fuck-ups, drug addicts, people can't figure out to use a fucking lighter. People spend millions of dollars on saving the life of retards. And why? I don't buy that shit like, oh, he's my son though, so the fuck what? He ain't normal. Kill him. Put him out his misery. He is only a waste of time and money. Then people say, but he is worth the time. He is human too. No, he isn't. If he was, then he would swallow a bullet, cause he would realize what a fucking waste and burden he was.
And
Natural selection, fuckers should be shot. Same thing with all those rich snooty toddies at my school. Fuckers think they are higher than me and everyone else with all their dollars just because they were born into it. Ish dank 9. Sorry is just a word. It doesn't mean shit to me. Everyone should be put to a test. An ultimate doom test. See who can survive in an environment using only smarts and military skills. Put them in a dome world. No authority, no refuge, no BS cop-out excuses. If you can't figure out the era of triangle or what cation means, you die. If you can't take down a demon with a chainsaw or kill a hell prince with a shotgun, you die. Fucking snooty rich fuckheads
censure.
who rely on other or on sympathy or dollars to get them through life should be put to this challenge. Plus, it will get rid of all the fat, retarded, cryblood, stupid, dumb, ignorant, worthless people of this world. No one is worthy of this planet, only me and whoever I choose. There is just no respect for anything higher than your fucking boss or parents. Everyone should be shot out into space, and only the people I saw should be left behind.
This redemption of Darwinism allows Eric to intellectualize his act and led to a conviction that what he is going to do is a necessary mission for the society which rejected it to change. By wishing to become a reference, he compares himself to God to try to convince himself of his superiority. This feeling generated by years of lack of confidence in him. For Eric and Dylan, the shooting made them become superior to those who had harassed them. Eric wanted to be feared and be in a position where no one would ever despise him again. His frustration was so great that it led to his desire to demonstrate that he existed and that he could be someone. According to experts, Eric possessed pathological narcissistic personality disorder with borderline and antisocial characteristic, also with paranoid traits. You can see his feeling of superiority in his journal.
I know what all you fuckers are thinking and what to do to piss you off and make you feel bad. I always try to be different, but I always end up copying someone else. I try to be a mixture of different things and style, but when I step out of myself, I end up looking like other think I am copying. One big fucking problem is people telling me what to fucking do. Think, say, act, and everything else. I do what you say if I feel like it. But people, i.e. parents, cops, God, teachers telling me what to arrow points to do, think, say, act, and everything else just make me not want to fucking do it. That's why my fucking name is Reb. No one is worthy of shit unless I say they are. I feel like God, and I wish I was, having everyone being officially lower than me.
But it is a feeling of superiority in response to this frustration caused by the harassment he suffered, this humiliation that made him want to prove that he is superior by dint of having been considered a loser. Often the victims of harassment imitate their stalkers, and this is how Eric and Dylan have become increasingly antisocial and hateful. Eric was doing badly. The belittling of some comrades and all the rumors of homosexuality between him and Dylan, etc., hurting him, and he built himself this shell of a person superior to the mass to create his revenge and his motive. Let us not forget his writing in his diary filled with information but also with rage and even despair. The mass killers are in a suicidal logic which seeks to kill as much as possible and generally commit suicide or allow themselves to be killed after the act. They are not trying to kill a particular person, even if Eric and Dylan especially did not like athletes. They have killed several profiles of people in this high school. Suicide represents for them the control of their destiny in the face of a society which should decide for them and makes them depressed. Eric also had a certain fascination with Hitler and had a racist, anti-Semitic, homophobic ideology. In the video of Eric and Dylan's testament, which has not been made public, filmed in Eric's basement, Dylan tells Harris about a Jewish holiday. Eric asks him then, "Are you Jewish?" Dylan says yes, a little. The image, apparently according to Brooke's mother, showed that Eric could have turned his gun on Dylan, but that he just said, that's a pity. The eve of the massacre, Eric found out a school from where he left a message. This message was posted in an American online chat room at 8:41 a.m. and read, "Member name, Eric Harris. Hobbies. Today is my last days on Earth. Computers, be prepared."